Hello and welcome to another edition of On a Mission. I'm Brian Sexton, and today we bring a very interesting story from Providence, Rhode Island. Vanessa Volz joins us from Sojourner House. Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Give us the overview of what you do at Sojourner House.
Absolutely. Sojourner House is a victim services agency. We provide shelter, housing, and supportive services to victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking. And we do so in what we often refer to as a continuum of support, everything from crisis intervention, if someone is not safe to go home tonight, all the way to a long-term permanent supportive housing program where clients can live in our program for multiple years.
And you're the president and CEO, and you've built it from, what, 7 employees, 8 employees, and $1 million budget to a multi-city agency with a multi-million-dollar budget. What did you see when you first got there that led you to see the future for Sojourner House, and what do you see it becoming?
So I saw great need. I saw many individuals and families reaching out to us needing longer term support and seeing a gap, seeing that there weren't appropriate resources locally to really meet those needs. So there seemed like an opportunity to help fill that gap. And then I really believe in the mission. I really believe that individuals deserve to live a life free from abuse. And we've been able to build a team here at Sojourner House of staff, board, and community members who believe and endorse that mission and have helped bring energy and support so we can grow.
You know, I read a couple of words that made a lot of sense to me in the description. You create a space, safe, comfortable, empowering. What does that look like on a daily basis?
That is our main focus. So, I mean, we're working with individuals and families. A lot of our clients are coming to us with young children, and they've experienced or witnessed traumatic events. And so our goal is to really make our clients feel at home, to feel secure, to feel safe, to feel like they're embarking on a new chapter of their lives, and we're here to support them and support their choices. I mean, every individual, every family who comes to us has different objectives, different experiences. We're not here to judge them. We're not here to tell them what to do. We're here simply to provide options so that they can move forward.
What in your daily life at Sojourner House, what's the biggest obstacle that you face, and how do you get beyond it? How do you work through it?
I'd say there are 2 main obstacles. One is, even though we have grown exponentially, we still can't meet the demand for services. So we have more people reaching out, needing help than we are able to accommodate. So it's really challenging, especially when people are in dangerous situations, to have to refer them or turn them away. And then related to that, funding is a constant struggle for probably most, if not all, nonprofits. And certainly in the world that we operate in, where we don't have enough support and we could always benefit from additional resources. And it's a competitive fundraising landscape, and there's always a constant challenge to bring in new money, retain donors, cultivate new donors, and it feels like a hamster wheel sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine it does. People have heard about domestic violence and sexual abuse. That's been something that's sadly been constant in society. How about human trafficking? That's become a much more cognizant issue for people, especially with all the issues with immigration and the border, and I know it's been something that's been talked about. Has that been something that's been a growing part of what you do at Sojourner House in recent months and years?
Absolutely. It was in 2016 that we actually updated our mission statement to specifically include victims of human trafficking. And we started providing specialized services for victims of trafficking, including a shelter. We now have a transitional housing program. We have counseling services and other community-based approaches to help victims of trafficking. But there's a lot more visibility about the issue than there was a few years ago. But unfortunately, it's been something that's been under the radar for a long time. It's just now starting to get more attention.
You do something unique. You're not just the services, you're the housing side of it. Are you a developer in a sense for Sojourner House? Tell me how that program's working.
So yes, we are not only a social services agency that provides these supports that I've talked about, but we're also a housing developer. So we actually actively acquire, rehab, and then lease apartments to the individuals and families that we're working with. And we expanded our mission in this way about 5 years ago during the pandemic, when we recognized that so many clients needed longer term housing. And we were starting to rent more units, but then from a business perspective, honestly, it just made sense for us to start acquiring buildings that we could own, have site control over, and then lease to clients. And so we've acquired, I believe, 5 units over the last few years. We're actually in the process of purchasing a couple additional buildings with some grant funds this year. And then we'll have plans to continue to expand our portfolio moving forward.
Before we wrap it up, how did you end up in nonprofits? What caught your heart? What drew you into this particular world?
I've just always been very driven to want to engage in work that I feel like is helping other people and making a difference in the community. And I've always been a strong advocate for women's issues, and domestic violence and sexual assault can happen to anyone, but we know that a majority of victims are women identified. And so this has just been a field that I'm very passionate about, that again, I had mentioned no one deserves to be in an abusive relationship. And so I just feel strongly that the work we do is really important, and that energizes me to continue to want to help our community.
Well, to be in the space that you're in, energized, is something we desperately need in society today. Vanessa Volz, the president and CEO of Sojourner House, doing incredible and innovative things to help victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse, and importantly, human trafficking. Hey, how can folks find you if they want to learn more about your mission?
We're online, sojournerri.org. We have a website that provides information about our programs, our history, and ways to get involved, to donate, to volunteer. So sojournerri.org. We're also on social media, on LinkedIn, Sojourner RI.
And we will put those in our show notes as well for everyone to find. Vanessa, thanks so much for everything that you do to help those folks and for sharing some of your story and your time with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And that'll do it for this edition of On a Mission. I'm Brian Sexton. We'll see you next time.